Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back. So this is the video I promised you the other night, and I wasn't able to get to because of a splitting headache I had after work. It's a long story, but so now I'm going to get this to you, and as you can see, I've got Trapper with a good loadout, and for some reason the music is disappearing. I don't know why. But anyway. I'm going to use a Black Ward and some decent add-ons, actually no, I don't want to use a Black Ward, I'll just use a Blood Point Offering, fuck it. As you can see, I have some decently better add-ons to try to get you guys a bit of a better game. And the point of this series, which I'm calling the Killer Catalog, and basically the objective of this video is to tell you how to the basics of playing a killer, my thought process when playing a killer, some strategies, where I place them on the tier list, and what I would do to improve them should I feel they need to be improved. So, this is kind of like a mix match of certain videos that other YouTubers have done in the past, but I felt like it would give people a better chance to look into my thinking process. So obviously, we're starting today with the Trapper, poster boy of Dead by Daylight, first killer to ever be designed, and one of my personal favorites. So as you can see, I've got a pretty decent like gen protector slash pressure kind of build, and I would be using thrilling tremors, because thrilling tremors I feel works better for what I'm trying to do. But I only have surveillance on Trapper at the moment, so that's what that's all I got to go on. So Trapper, he is a very interesting case. As everyone knows, he places traps around the map, and his traps are scattered across the map at the start, and you have to go retrieve them. You start with which is his biggest problem, and I'll explain why for those of you who are new. But the point is, he goes and picks them up, he places them down. They can be disarmed by survivors, so you have to try to hide them as well as you can. And if they step in them, they get snagged and they have to attempt to escape. Or, yeah, and as long as the trap is there, whatever window or pallet or whatever as long as you place it correctly, that whatever pallet or window you place it by is effectively blocked off, or any loop you put it on is effectively shut down, unless they know where it is and go around it. But you'll see as we get into the game. So Trapper, I would as a killer in the current meta, I would place him in the like nearly dead middle or lower end of the mid tier. I used to place him a bit higher, thinking he was undervalued, but after a while I began to understand why people placed him there. It's not because his power is crap, it's because the way his power is slow. And what I mean by that is, you start with one base bear trap unless you use add-ons to get more than one, and even then you can only have a maximum of 3 at the start. And the rest are scattered everywhere. So it means you gotta go out of your way to pick them up while the survivors are doing generators, which means they get done really quickly. It's quite a mess. So due to this lack of pressure at the beginning of the game, he doesn't have time to properly set up, otherwise he loses several gems. And to top it off, well, he's forced to chase as a normal killer whenever he doesn't have his traps set up, and even if when he does, he can only cover a certain amount of area. And then once again they can be disarmed, which if they are disarmed you have to go over, pick them up, put them back down again in a different spot most likely, otherwise they'll probably just get disarmed again. And that's just a bit of an issue. So what I would do to fix this killer, to make him a bit better, is two things. One, they need to make it to where his traps are easier to access. Like maybe my favorite idea is to have them in lockers like Huntress does with their hatchets. That way, and of course they can put a cap on how many he has on the map at the same time. That's something they could do with his stitched bag add-ons, or I mean his bag add-ons. They could raise the cap number of traps he can have on the map and stuff. That could be cool. And secondly, I would also make it to, I like the idea that some people put forward to the devs a while back, where if he has a trap on the ground, he could press like a secondary button, kind of like Ghostface can crouch with a secondary button, to reset the trap without having to pick it back up. That would save him a lot of time setting traps, and would allow him to get back to hunting and chasing survivors. Oh, nice. Gonna get some good blood points here, hopefully. I mean, and he's the poster boy Dead by Daylight, and I feel he deserves to at least be in the high tiers, or, close to it. Because he's such a fun killer to play sometimes, and he's very different from a lot of other killers because he's a strategist killer. If you don't place your traps in the proper spots, they don't do you any good, and then you're forced into some very awkward chases as a killer with no power, which, if you've ever played Freddy Krueger or played Ghostface in the PTB before he got buffed, yikes, you know what that's like, and it's horrible. So, I'm going to get into a game here and try to see if I can show off Trapper as best I can. I used to play him a lot whenever, obviously, because I farmed up a bunch of perks for him. He's always been one of my favorites because I find him a lot of fun to play. It's very satisfying when a trap you put, especially if you put it in a weird area, when it works out, because you're like, yep, I predicted this. Alright, so the Groaning Storehouse. This could work out. This can work. So let's start here. I have my tar bottles, so my traps are really dark, so they're very hard to see. So I'm going to place that trap there, in the grass near the window, and right here by the pallet. That way, I have this building somewhat covered. Pick up another trap here. So the best places to start with traps now are like the Killer Shack here. It's a bit predictable, but sometimes people still fall for it. Or jungle gyms and other pallets, because those are the areas that are most likely going to be used by survivors for looping. Like for instance this area here. This is a perfect place for a trap right here. Even if you don't have the tar bottle, it's stuck in the grass and it's close enough to the pallet that it'll get them if they use it, but at the same time it's far enough that they will be tricked into thinking that there's no pallet there. Now I don't have time to set any more traps because I gotta go hunting, because as you can see survivors are doing the gens already. So I gotta look around, and here's a Claudette. Someone snapped one of my traps. So you see, when the survivors know where your traps are, it kind of sucks, because this is kind of what happens. Where'd she go? Wait. What? This is the problem with Claudettes. They just disappear, man. Oh, there she is. Her scratch has just like disappeared. Oh well. I got her. All the same. Thankfully the noises are still working on sounds that survivors make. Oh shit. I didn't hang her. There we go. So all the survivors are over here. So there's no one that can see me at the moment. So let me just place a trap like so. There. That gives me a decent little grid of traps. See, this trap was already disarmed. They already knew. They knew better. Oh, there's someone working on a gen over there. And this gen's decently well done. So I better just kick this real quick. Oh, that guy's already got himself to second phase, so he's let himself go. Wow. His team just got utterly screwed by him. Oh, that guy got snapped in a trap. Let's see if I can get over there before she gets loose. Probably not. Yeah, see. That's what happens a lot of the time. But she didn't know I had another trap. Haha. Yeah. You had no idea. And look at that. The basement is here. Let's go. So another popular trapping spot, as I'm about to show you, when you put someone in the basement, is like right here at the bottom of the stairs, because they're going to try to sharply turn in here. But it's with my darkened traps, it's harder to see them. So that's a nice little spot. Just a little tidbit for you. So I want to place this back at this window, because this is a really strong window and they need to avoid letting them use it as much as possible. See, that gen got done, but that's okay. That was a really far off gen anyway, and it was not one I wanted to deal with. Kick this gen, because why not? Regress it all the way. Someone will go to save her, I'm sure. Just got to be careful. I'm going to put a trap right here. Block that door. They'll be forced to disarm it, at the very least, so I'll get to know where they're at. Since I ever hooked, I have a moment to set up traps, especially with one person already down. Aha. See? A well-placed trap is all you need. Snapped you up. So this is the part of Trapper that's really strong. If you predict survivors, or if you shut down the right areas, they can be really strong. Now, the first guy rage quit and kind of screwed over his team in that regard, but you get the idea of how it can be effective for strong survivors as well. And you see, the trap at the bottom even paid off. They snapped themselves into it. Now they got off, sure, but you know what? Now I'm already here. By the time they unhook this, oh, they're already running. They didn't even bother unhooking, so this is pretty much GG. Because now they have nowhere to go except this pallet, and I got here just in time to stop her. She didn't commit to the save, and she didn't pay attention to where she was going, and it cost her team everything. See, this is the part of Trapper that feels really strong. But when survivors know what you're doing, or they understand Trapper very well, or if they're cautious enough that they're checking every patch of grass, or if you just have someone going around dedicated just snapping your traps, that's when Trapper starts to feel bad. And it's like there's not much you could do about it at that point. It just takes him so long to set up that if you don't get the proper pressure right off the rip, through a good chase or through a good hook or something, then, you know, you just get stomped. And as you can see, it wasn't even enough to pip me because the match was too quick. These guys were just not very good against Trapper. I mean, I have no problem saying that. It's true. I mean, look at this. No chaser. Because I got almost every single one of them through a trap. But that's why you gotta work a grid with Trapper. So yeah, this is my thoughts. Oh my gosh, those add-ons. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Trapper. And I will continue this series next up with the Wraith, and I will get it to you as soon as possible. May not be tomorrow, because, excuse me, I want to still cover Ghostface a little bit as things develop with him. But I've already talked through all that in the previous video, so I won't go over it again here. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will bring you another one as soon as I can. Thanks. Good night, everyone.